The scene shifts to the following morning. After a full night of hard work, Wu Chen wakes up, but when he looks over, he's confused. Given what happened the night before, Ru Bing should have been sleeping in late, right? But it's still early and there's no sign of him anywhere. Wu Chen gets dressed and heads downstairs, where he hears Lai Cheng's voice. It's rare to see you sleeping in. You must be really worn out lately, huh? Wu Chen greets him cheerfully. Oh, Lai Cheng, you're okay now, right? At that moment, Ru Bing walks in preparing to make tea and responds. Lai Cheng had just returned from Donghai and immediately came to visit him. Wu Chen says the explosion situation was handled smoothly, and it's all thanks to your help, Lai Cheng. Lai Cheng calmly sips his tea and replies, we got him, Gao Cheng-he, he's been arrested. Wu Chen responds, yeah, he had the guts to mess with me. Talk about bad luck for him. With you, Lai Cheng, helping out, of course everything went smoothly. He continues, by the way, I wanted to tell you, Lai Zheng, who got beaten up badly by Ding Yingji and his men. He's on a life support machine in the hospital now. Looks like fate had it all planned out. Now the old man has handed over the responsibility of the Hong Fei group to me. He won't be coming back to Donghai much from now on. Wu Chen continued, these days, everything is so convenient. Donghai is just like being right next door. Lai Cheng sighed, it's a pity that the plan to use someone else's knife to kill didn't work out. All our preparations have gone to waste. What now? The knife is gone. Brother, do you have anything else lined up? Wu Chen spoke sluttily, like an old man. The mess recently is enough to keep Ding Duan long busy for a while. I don't have the energy to do anything right now. On the other hand, that old man from the Ding family. He's nearly 90, yet still as strong as a young man. His business empire is expanding globally, and if we don't find a way to hold him back, he'll just keep supporting Ding Duan long. My previous plan needs to be upgraded, but right now, my superiors are watching me. I have to finish their test first. During that time, you'll need to manage Hong Fa Group and help keep an eye on the movie project with Zhao Yi and Xiao, Dai from the Som family. In the upgraded plan, the scandal involving my sister-in-law and Zhou Yi is a key part of it. As soon as Lai Cheng heard this, he trusted his brother completely and responded, brother, I understand. Once your test is done, we'll talk about the bigger matters. Wu Chen turned to Ru Bing and said, in a little while, I'll help Ru Bing take care of some small tasks. She's been working so hard lately. Ru Bing, moved to tears, replied, darling, I'm sorry to trouble you, but I think it would be more effective if you stepped in to help push the new factory project forward. It'll be easier with you in charge. She paused, thinking to herself, I heard OU Wrong is trying to pull the Hua sisters into opposing me. Humph, I need to crush that sneaky plan before it even starts. Not only do I have to deal with enemies outside, but now I also have to keep an eye on the people inside. The competition for Wu's affection is getting intense. 2 hours later, at the new pharmaceutical factory, Hu Lei spoke up, we're almost ready to start production. Everything needs to be precisely adjusted. This production line involves both Mr. Wu and Miss Li, so we can't afford to make any mistakes. Suddenly, Wu Chen appeared, calling out warmly, Lai Li, Hua Hua, don't take this so seriously. Seeing their dream man arrive, both sisters lit up with joy, their faces showing clear happiness. They called out, Wu Chen, what are you doing here? Let me help you clean your face. Oh, bye. Hua Hua, how did you get so dirty? And Lai Lai, your eyes are so red. I bet you haven't slept in 3 days, right? While the older sister was shy, Hua Bai took advantage of the situation and said, we work overtime every day, overtime for your sake. We value this even more than our own lives. Hua Lai blushed and said, bye-bye. What are you talking about? I just saw Wu Chen push both of you out with his hands. You two should sit down and relax for a bit. Don't worry, I'll handle the adjustments for you, he added. About 3 hours later, Wu Chen had finished everything at the factory. All done. Everyone, it's time to clock out. Let's go. I'll take you two to a spa. You'll feel so refreshed and energized, he said. Hearing him, the two sisters were a bit confused, but without thinking, they still agreed and followed along. A little later at the spa room, the two sisters had just changed into their robes and were excited. Hua Bai spoke up, Wu Chen is so slow. I wonder what he's doing. Just then, two young men cheerfully opened the door and walked in, saying, hello, we'll be your attendants tonight. At the same time, Wu Chen walked in, saying, your charges have already been taken care of. Go ahead and relax. I'll handle these two ladies. The sisters were surprised and asked, huh? You're not coming with us? Well, wait, just a minute. Wu Chen said with a sly smile, clearly plotting something. He pulled his hands out of his pockets with a mischievous look and added, please enjoy yourselves. Tonight, I'll be personally taking care of you too. Hua Bai said, Wu Chen, the person giving us the spa treatment isn't you, right? But by the time she realized it, it was already too late. So the two of them just lay down on the bed, calmly waiting for the moment to come. Wu Chen sprayed a little massage oil onto his hands and rubbed them together. His hands then gently placed themselves on Huolei's back, and he began massaging. He worked his way from her back down to her feet. Wu Chen whispered, "Don't think about anything, just relax your mind." Huolei blushed and thought, Wu Chen's palms are so warm. It really makes me feel at ease. At that moment, his hands began to warm her heart too, surprising her a bit, but as they moved further, she had to speak up. "Ah, Wu Chen, where are you pressing?" Both sisters jolted and shivered as his hands moved to the sides. Wu Chen responded, "The heavenly can and the crescent moon often meet. All 36 points are in perfect harmony. Balancing the yin and yang for 3 minutes clears fatigue in 5 minutes. Regular maintenance can keep your beauty timeless. By pressing on the acupuncture points, if done correctly, it can boost energy, calm the mind, and release tension from the body. The flower blooms in the snow. Now, how we use traditional Indian techniques to balance the chakras. Hua hua, come here." The two sisters seemed like they were floating on air, letting out soft ah sounds and calling Wu Chen's name with pure delight. After finishing their spa session, the two sisters from the Huo family were full of energy. Their faces looked much more relaxed, and they quickly got back to work. Meanwhile, Ru Bing's color illusion organization was also undergoing some personnel changes. A new business project had been launched. The scene shifted to the following day inside a G63 car where Wu Chen was discussing important matters with Ning Chen. He spoke up, "Captain Ning, I'm almost done with my business. Now let's talk about the mission for the organization." "What's going on with that missing scientist?" she asked, her expression thoughtful as she looked at her tablet. Years ago, Professor Song Yun from the Southwest Rare Flora and Fauna Research Institute was on a scientific research vessel that ran into rogue waves in the sea. "Are you familiar with those types of waves?" Wu Chen asked, his gaze serious. "They're waves more than 60 meters high, strong enough to capsize an ocean carrier. So it's no surprise that Professor Song's research vessel was swallowed up by them," she replied. Ning Chen pointed to a location on the map. "We sent rescue ships to search that area for a long time, but we found nothing. We've assumed the professor had died, but according to intelligence from Oak Singlong, Professor Song is still alive and is on this island." Wu Chen asked, "So what about the international dispute you mentioned earlier? What's that all about?" She explained, because on the official international map, this island doesn't exist at all. Wu Chen, confused, exclaimed, "What?" "The more I hear, the less I understand." She looked at him calmly and replied, "Don't rush, I'll explain it to you. You know, your country and France have been longtime enemies. Since the 15th century, they've fought over this region, and many conflicts broke out. By the 17th century, England started colonizing India, while France set up military outposts on islands along the trade routes, constantly making life difficult for the English. England responded with attacks, but France was very good at building strong defenses, so both sides kept clashing right up to the modern world wars." Wu Chen, his face serious, asked, "It sounds like a turning point. Captain Ning, did England do something while France was weakened by war?" Ning Chen nodded. "You're quite sharp, Wu Chen." Wu Chen pressed further. "So, what happened next?" Ning Chen continued, "At that time, England landed on the island again. This time, they used the deadliest chemical gas available to attack the French soldiers holding their defenses. The French suffered massive casualties, and the whole island turned into a hell on earth." Wu Chen, hearing this, could feel the cruelty of wartime. Ning Chen added, because using such toxic gas was so dirty, and fearing international condemnation. After wiping out the French, England didn't dare openly occupy the island, so over time it became abandoned. After World War II, England dragged the entire United States into the cover-up of this dark chapter in history. They claimed the island had high methane levels, making it uninhabitable, and quietly erased it from the map and satellite tracking systems. Wu Chen replied, "So the international dispute you mentioned is because of that reason." Ning Chen responded, "Exactly. If we recklessly land on the island, it would draw attention from those two major powers. That's why for this mission, no one else is better suited than you." Flattered, Wu Chen humbly replied, "Don't flatter me. I'll just do my best." Ning Chen continued, "Actually, this mission was assigned because your father-in-law confidently promised the higher-ups." With a proud look, Mr. Lai spoke up, "Give this job to my son-in-law, Wu Chen. If he fails, I, Lai Mao Ren, will take full responsibility." "That's exactly what your father-in-law said." Hearing that, Wu Chen could only scratch his head and say, "My father-in-law is going all out here. But as a son-in-law, all I can do is try my best to get it done, or else it'll be hard to face my in-laws." Ning Chen spoke again. "I've set the coordinates of the island to your phone. After that, I'll take you 12 nautical miles from the island. The rest is up to you." Wu Chen didn't forget to ask a mission of this level. If it's just a test from Teo Truck, it's a bit much. If I manage to complete it, will there be any extra rewards? She replied cheerfully. Well, that depends on your abilities. If you're lucky, you might even get a better reward. Her mysterious tone made Wu Chen think about Ning Chen. He wondered if Captain Ning was planning to give him a special reward too. He responded, that sounds exciting. All right, let's get started. A week later in the Indian Ocean, Wu Chen was navigating a canoe to the designated island by himself. His face was serious because this was a tough mission, and the weather wasn't helping either. Through his binoculars, he could clearly see the island's location. He muttered to himself, an island poisoned by hell? Doesn't look like it, but to avoid detection, I had no choice but to pick this kind of weather. What a hassle. The storm grew stronger, causing his canoe to wobble on the waves. He was also shocked by the terrain in this area. No way, there are submerged rocks this far from the island. Wu Chen was skilled, but even he couldn't prevent his boat from getting damaged by hitting a rock. He calculated it was at least 4 nautical miles away, about 7 kilometers. It seemed like he'd have to swim the rest of the way. He quickly changed his clothes and walked down to the beach. This island was strange. How could the person who needed saving be here? So Wu Chen had to swim a long way. After a while, he finally set foot on the island. Wu Chen was exhausted from the effort and thought to himself, good thing I've been taking care of myself this past week, or swimming this distance would have been the end of me. From below, he looked up at the high ground where a gloomy atmosphere hung over the area. He focused on the lighthouse, which looked like it had been abandoned for a long time. While Wu Chen was silently assessing the terrain, a figure appeared from behind, slowly walking toward him and shouting, don't move. Wu Chen froze, surprised that he had been spotted so quickly. But just as he was about to turn around, a sharp spearhead was pointed directly at his spine. Wu Chen was startled and confused. He couldn't tell exactly what was behind him, but it clearly looked dangerous. He raised his hands in surrender and turned around. He saw a beautiful young woman with blonde hair threatening him. She snapped, I told you not to move. Wu Chen smiled lightly and tried to explain, hey, miss, I was just passing by. My boat got stuck. I'm not a bad guy, I swear. The blonde girl, slender yet with a fierce look on her face, challenged him. How many people would admit they're the bad guy, huh? Wu Chen thought to himself, seems like her calm words can leave people speechless. Looks like I'll have to put my acting skills to work here. Suddenly, he transformed into an actor and dramatically wrapped his arms around himself, shouting, I've been soaking in the sea all day. I'm starving, thirsty, exhausted, and so sleepy. I feel like I'm about to starve to death. Do you have anything to eat? She looked at him, clearly confused, not sure what he was up to. It was like, huh? Are we being interrogated here? Wu Chen quickly assessed the situation and realized this girl wasn't going to be easily fooled. Time to step up the acting. He placed one hand on his forehead and the other on his stomach, groaning. Sis, I might never get the chance to look for you again. If you're still alive, I hope you're safe. What I mean is, if in the pouring rain, tears of sorrow start falling down. Then, in a deep, resigned voice, he added, well, looks like we're reunited now. Hugh. The girl, concerned, asked, do you have a sister? Wu Chen wiped away a fake tear and replied, my sister's boat went missing around here. Hugh, I miss her so much. She opened up a little and shared, I have an older brother, but he's no longer with us. I miss him too. Please don't cry anymore. You're so grown up, and yet you're crying over your sister. But you don't seem like a bad person. Wu Chen replied, I've been saying from the start that I'm not a bad person. The girl turned and said, all right, enough of that. I'll finish what I'm doing, then I'll take you to get something to eat. With that, she went down to the beach, working hard to catch crabs and fish for dinner. Later, she spoke up to give instructions. Let's go. But remember this, don't talk and don't make any loud noises. Got it? Wu Chen, understanding, replied, got it. I understand. They arrived at a hidden spot that left him completely amazed. He thought to himself, wow, there's even a secret tunnel? At that moment, the girl pulled a rope with all her strength and a door opened, revealing a stone staircase that led down. She said, you go ahead. A little while later, after they reached a room, she kindly ran to get Wu Chen a bowl of water. Hey, drink this, she offered. Just as he was about to take it, a sharp voice shouted, Oliver, why did you bring a man here? Don't you know the consequences if they find out? Oliver quickly stepped in to explain, Mom, he's not a bad person. He came here looking for his sister. Please, just give him some food and water. Once he's better, I'll make him leave. She asked again, do you believe everything a man says? What if he starts running around the island and someone sees him? If he gets caught, he could be killed, and we'd be punished too. Wu Chen calmly took a sip of water and thought for a moment. Who is that person? Is there something on this island that scares them? She then took out a piece of rope. Today is the day to submit the items. Nothing unexpected can happen. Hurry and tie him up for me and I'll deal with it when I get back. With that, she grabbed 2 bags of something and left. The noise seemed to attract some attention and a few people came over. Oliver spoke up. Done with the water? If you are, then let's cooperate a bit. A few women came over and used the rope to tie Wu Chen up. He didn't resist, just smiling to himself. He thought if this were somewhere else, this sea would definitely have a more suspicious vibe. But on this island with only women around, the atmosphere was completely different. Oliver spoke again. Don't move. If you behave, I'll convince my mom to let you go. As for food, just wait a bit. I'll go to the kitchen and get it ready. About 30 minutes later, she came out excitedly, holding a bowl of something that looked strange, almost like a witch's potion. Wu Chen stared at it, a little confused, and said, Wait, you guys actually eat this? Back where I'm from, the food we give to livestock is better than this. She responded, What are you talking about? This dish is actually really good. He was half skeptical, but decided to try a little. As soon as he did, he quickly ran off to throw up repeatedly. It looks bad, but it's even worse than I thought, he said. Oliver immediately scolded him. Hey, you can't waste food like that. He explained, I smelled the ingredients, potatoes, fish, and I think some eggs too. Where I'm from, we could make a really amazing dish out of those things with the perfect colors and flavors. She asked, surprised, even better than this? He nodded and added, honestly, for sure. It would probably taste at least 100 times better. Want me to cook it for you? She was taken aback and asked, You can cook? A little later, a scent unlike any other filled the air. It was unfamiliar but incredibly pleasant, making everyone curious and gather around. It smells so good. My mouth's watering nonstop. The food even looks beautiful. It wasn't clear whether they were talking about the food or Wu Chen himself. Suddenly, Oliver's mom came over, raising her voice. What are you guys doing? Why are you untying him? Oliver brought over a bowl of food and explained, Mom, he's from a country known for its cuisine. This is a dish from his hometown. You should try it. She didn't think twice and, enchanted by the aroma, tasted the soup. It's really good. She smiled and began to relax around him. All right, everyone, let's eat. And so, they gathered together happily to enjoy their meal. Let's eat. Let's eat. After finishing the meal, Oliver, for the first time in his life, was so full and satisfied that he could barely catch his breath. He said, Whoa, the taste is still lingering. That's some real deal cooking right there. If I could, I'd really hope you could stay on this island, but that's probably not possible. I just don't know if I can convince my mom to let you stay a little longer. Curious, she turned to ask, By the way, would you teach me how to cook? Wu Chen smiled and replied, It's not impossible. Just then, Oliver's mom interrupted, saying, Hey, don't let your feelings cloud your judgment. We're preparing for something big. Have you forgotten? She quickly explained, No, I haven't forgotten. The mother then threatened, Whether this works out or not is still uncertain. But what if you fail and let this man take advantage of you? Do you want me to remind you of the consequences? You know exactly what I mean, right? Oliver immediately thought of that terrifying scene and felt a chill run down his spine. He was too scared to say anything more. The mother turned to leave, leaving behind one last remark, Figure it out for yourself. She just accepted the bundle of rope, saying 2 words, Got it. She then sat down next to him, her face showing a hint of sadness, and simply whispered 2 words of apology to Wu Chen. Sorry. Wu Chen, thinking to himself, wondered what's all this talk about. What's going on here? The island truly was full of mysteries. He needed to find a way to get more information out of Oliver. Oliver now had no choice but to obey her parents. She tied Wu Chen up with a rope, forcing him to stay and become a son-in-law here. The girl, still a bit clueless, asked, Is there any part I missed? Anywhere. That's not tied up tightly enough. He sighed and responded, You don't need to check. Right now, I'm basically as harmless as a worm. Don't worry, I can't run away and I'm not a threat. Seeing her mother still watching closely, she apologized. Sorry, but Mom insisted on this. I really didn't have a choice. He nodded. I understand. I'm not blaming you. But hey, Oliver, you listen to your mom like that. You must really care about her, huh? She shared a bit about herself. Actually, she's not my biological mother. My real mom and little brother passed away a few years ago. Even though this mom is strict and tough, I know she does everything for our good. He said, I get it. You probably don't want anything bad to happen to her. By the way, this big thing you guys are planning, is it dangerous? From the way your mom talks, it doesn't sound like it's something simple. Oliver began to explain, back then, Mom wanted to save someone who was incredibly important to us. These days, there's plenty of food on the island, but a few years ago, we were starving. It's all thanks to that person. That person ran into serious trouble, and no matter how dangerous it was, we had to repay them. Wu Chen's eyes widened in surprise. Oh, from what you're saying, that person doesn't seem like a local. They must have washed up here from somewhere else. Suddenly, she reacted strongly and said, if you hadn't reminded me, I would have forgotten. That person is so important to us, we've already considered her like family. And it's true, she's just like you. She ended up here after a shipwreck and washed up on this island. Wu Chen thought seriously for a moment, then said, it can't be. Could it? He quickly sat up and asked, the person you're talking about is a woman, right? Her name is Song Yun? Hearing this, he was surprised and replied, yes, that's right. Why? How do you know? His face darkened and he said, because she's the one I've been looking for, my older sister. Oliver's expression matched his and she exclaimed, she's your sister. My God. Wu Chen said, turning to Oliver, tell me everything. How has my sister been living these past few years? Is she okay? What happened to her? She quickly tried to reassure him, don't rush, don't rush. Song's mother wasn't in life-threatening danger. When he heard the words Song's mother, his face froze in confusion. Oliver slowly began to explain, yes, let me tell you everything. A few years ago, when Song's mother first washed up on the island, she was surrounded by a group of people. There was hardly any food on the island, and everyone was starving. Some even considered killing her to eat her. She said at that time that if we didn't kill her, she could make sure no one would ever go hungry again. If the hunger became unbearable, we could even cut off her 2 legs to eat. As long as her head and hands remained, she would keep her promise. At the time, no one really believed her, but we kept moving forward. No one expected her to grab the knife from the closest person and stab it straight into her thigh, preparing to cut off some of her own flesh. Wu Chen spoke up, that's my sister for you. She's been tough since we were kids. She continued, that's right. It was because of that action that everyone was forced to surrender. Everyone thought that anyone who could go that far would definitely be someone to trust. After that, she really did teach us how to weave fishing nets, use the remaining seeds on the boat to teach us how to farm, and even taught us how to raise birds for eggs. Long story short, thanks to Aunt Song leading us, we were able to live days without fearing death. Wu was a little confused and asked, at first, they were all so fierce, but later they became so close. So why did she end up in such big trouble? She answered, it's because of those terrifying people on the island. At this point, Wu's eyes froze, and he asked, who are they? She seemed to struggle a bit before answering, the people you met in the underground tunnel. They make up about 90% of the island's population now. But when I was little, there were so many more of them. Back then, the island was really bustling, and suddenly, most of the people just disappeared. When I asked my mom, she wouldn't say anything. She only told us we had to absolutely obey. Wu Chen asked next, when you were younger, did you live better than now? Was your food and living situation better? She answered, in my memory, it has always been the same as it is now. Wu Chen thought seriously. If the living conditions had always been like this, the chances of her building a boat to leave the island were almost zero. But to make hundreds of people disappear, that enemy had to be at least a small, organized group. Was my sister forced to do something for them? Oliver added, I heard she has a type of technology that is extremely important. Wu Chen immediately asked, is it core technology? She nodded, yes, that's right. If she doesn't hand over that technology, they'll kill her. She said it's a national secret, and even if she has to die, she will never reveal it. He pressed for more information. So the big thing my mom mentioned is to kill those people and rescue my sister, right? How does she plan to deal with them? Is she doing it alone, or does she have help? She responded somewhat blankly, I don't really know. Then, can you tell me where my sister is now? She looked a bit confused. I don't know that either. Mom didn't let me ask, and neither did we get involved. He thought deeply, trying to piece together all the clues. It seemed like he couldn't get any more information from Oliver. The thing that was bothering him most right now was, first, the supplies they had to hand over regularly. But where did they get the food from, and how were they able to do it consistently? Monday, why did the Emmy group take control of the island? What are their plans? Second, almost everyone on the island is a woman, so where are all the men? Third, and most importantly, the person called Mother can barely be considered on our side. Wu Chen gave a dangerous smile. So the next goal is to completely turn the person called Mother into one of us. He then used his skillful techniques to easily free himself from the ropes. After all, a few strands of rope couldn't be a problem, right? In one swift motion, he stood up and the ropes snapped apart. This made his innocent little sister, who was as naive as Oliver, gasp in surprise. She curiously asked, brother, what are you going to do? Wu Chen moved closer and hugged her tightly, replying, shoo, Oliver, don't scream. Normally, Mother says that men and women should keep their distance, but when I touch your body, it makes you think. Mother's words have always been right. Men only know how to. She immediately started crying and pushed him away. No, this isn't right. Wu Chen quickly tried to calm her down. Sure, Oliver, I don't mean any harm. Trust me. But suddenly, in one swift motion, he knocked her unconscious. Indeed, I can't bear to harm something as precious as golden leaves and jade, he said. I'll cooperate with your mother, but to avoid putting you in an uncomfortable position, it's better if you temporarily bear the inconvenience. In a base that resembled a military outpost, a few people were leaning against each other after an intense drinking session, completely unaware of the world around them. After all, in a place like this, guns lay side by side, heads resting close together, and the cold night was shared under a single blanket, turning strangers into soulmates. Oliver's mother poured some wine for an older man and said, like Kai, your patrol team guarding this island really has a tough job. Here, let me toast to you. Please, drink up. The man, enjoying the attention from the beautiful woman serving him, sat up proudly and said, whether it's hard or not, what difference does it make? She responded, you have a soft heart, and I'm not trying to make things difficult for you. Everyone here is grateful. Mentioning gratitude made him start eyeing her from head to toe, clearly with other intentions. If we're talking about repaying favors, heh. Oliver quickly picked up on the lecherous tone in his laugh. Without saying much, he tossed his glass aside and prepared to take action. But the kid couldn't stand it anymore. He raised his voice. At this point, just cooperating a little more would be a way to repay the favor. He immediately carried out an embarrassing act and pushed her hard against the wall. She spoke up, like I, please don't do this. She pretended to be weak, but her hand was already reaching for the pistol lying on the table. She was just moments away from grabbing it when the perverted man suddenly froze for a moment as if sensing something. With a sudden thud, there was the sound of a punch landing. Chen made a strong entrance, knocking the man down with a single blow. The woman, after escaping from the close encounter, was stunned. Wu spoke up, there must be more people in the gang on the island, right? Kill him. The life sign monitor will automatically send out a signal of his death through the collar he's wearing. Suddenly, the aunt grabbed the keys and shouted, what are you all doing? Chen quickly responded in a disguised voice, holding the radio, nothing, we just accidentally bumped into each other. Seeing the tension in the air, she didn't dare make another move. The voice on the other end of the line shouted, damn it, be more careful next time. Chen replied, understood, understood. After hanging up, he said, they've set a lot of traps. Let's pull back for now. We'll figure it out later. As they left, both of them looked toward the lighthouse, feeling a bit regretful. Oh, so close. We almost got the key to the prison where Professor Song is held. He reassured her. This isn't as simple as you think. She replied, Oliver and the others have never been here. They didn't even know this place existed. How did you manage to find it? And also, why did you choose to help me? Chen smiled slightly and answered, finding you wasn't that difficult. On this island, whether you're digging a tunnel or opening a path, you first have to avoid the hidden rock cracks and tree roots, then steer clear of the loose, unstable rocks. After that, there are only a few viable spots left. I'm here to rescue Professor Song. We're teammates. She then said, given your skills, you're definitely not an ordinary person. Chen replied, on the contrary, you're the one who made Oliver cautious and unwilling to take big risks. But your plan isn't really that effective. She responded, our plan was to take advantage of the time when those with heavy weapons go out for transactions, leaving behind a careless 10-man patrol, like Lai Kai guarding the island. We get them drunk, steal the keys, and rescue Professor Song. Chen then asked, and what happens after you rescue her? She awkwardly said, with her abilities, if she escapes, she'll definitely find a way. After hearing this, Chen couldn't help but facepalm, clearly speechless. Professor Song by herself against an armed gang that made hundreds of people disappear? She's just a scientist, not a superhero, haha. Well, professional matters should be handled by experts, but you still need to share all the information you know with me. She began to recount the story. Over 10 years ago, a boat crashed into some rocks near the island. A man was injured and washed up here. He was so good-looking, his appearance was hard to ignore. He caught the eye of a girl on the island. She fed him, gave him water, and even kept him warm with her own body, taking care of him with so much attention. He slowly recovered. This guy was really lucky, like a king, getting such careful treatment and care, like he had 2 mountains looking out for him. She quickly corrected herself. I mean, the woman who worked so hard to take care of him. But once he was fully healed, he fixed up his yacht, didn't say a word, and just disappeared. Chen asked, what does that person have to do with the current situation? Her face turned angry as she responded, not long after, he came back with a few other men, bringing boats, tools, and building materials. They used us to build this and that, and then they turned on us, killing everyone. He's hard to understand. What's the point of them taking over the island as a base? She wiped away her tears as she talked about it. I heard Lai Kai explain it. They were originally subcontractors for the Deep Blue biotech company from England, specializing in hunting a species of ancient fish that should have been extinct 65 million years ago. But this fish is still alive and swims back to the bay near the island every year to reproduce. Wu Chen thought for a moment and said, Deep Blue, huh? I know them. They're the ones researching cell regeneration and brain modification. She added, I've heard that the fish's eggs are said to extend life, preserve youth, and even grant immortality. He responded, what kind of science company is this? It sounds more like some kind of immortality cult. Some people are really obsessed with this stuff. Wait a second, didn't Professor Song also research rare plants and animals? She replied, yeah, ever since she came to the island, they stopped outsourcing and started directly contacting buyers and handling the trades themselves. Recently, the core group would go out to handle these things, usually returning every 3 days. He said, even though you're all women with so many of you, they only left 10 people behind to guard the island. She was angry and said, they've set up a lot of traps around the island, including powerful explosives. To put it another way, if we want to wipe them out without harming innocent people, we'd have to take them all out at once, every single one of them, armed with heavy weapons. This place is located in India, right on the migration route of the blue whales, from their breeding grounds to their feeding areas. Coincidentally, in 3 days, the high tide will come in. It's surprising that the methods used with marine animals can be applied here after all these years. He turned to her and said, tomorrow, find a way to help me get close. Help me gather a few things. Although she wasn't entirely sure what he meant, she answered confidently with a simple, got it. He pointed and said, when the time comes, lead everyone away from the western side of the island and around to the back of the mountain on the east. The next day, Wu Chen, carrying a box with something inside, dove deep into the ocean. He seemed to be doing something, and as the equipment was ready, he just waited for them to return and for the tide to rise. 3 days later, at sunset, a feeling of sorrow surrounded him. Wu Chen and the girl were silently observing the enemy from a distance. He asked, can you see them clearly? Is that all of them? She replied with a nod. He quickly turned and said, hurry, let's go to the foot of the mountain and join up with the others. A short while later, when Wu Chen returned, Oliver, who had missed him, ran over and hugged him like they hadn't seen each other in a long time. Oliver's mother spoke up and asked, so, what now? What do we do? He answered, you don't need to do anything. We just wait until tomorrow morning when the tide goes out. The next morning, the soldiers were sprawled out in every corner of their ears, noses, and throats, bleeding heavily. Witnessing this, the group of beautiful women stared in shock, unable to believe their eyes. How did this happen? Wu Chen explained, I used the piezoelectric crystal in my stereo headphones to create a device that emits low-frequency sounds mimicking whale mating calls. The whales were attracted and gathered together. The low-frequency waves resonated through the underwater crevice as the tide rose, causing the sound waves to spread and become an invisible, mass-killing weapon. Typical Wu Chen, with a brain that big, he should just go back to his hometown and herd cows instead. Who could possibly compete with that? He immediately reached out and snapped off the keyring. Let's go! We're heading to the East Prison or whatever. We need to rescue Professor Song. When they arrived, a loud scream from one of the women rang out. Ah, what is that thing? As a shadowy figure, looking like one of those backpackers, carried someone away, Wu Chen's brute could only watch helplessly, unable to do anything. He turned to ask, I told you to synchronize all the data on the island with me. Are you hiding something from me? Oliver's mother had a difficult, almost helpless expression. Though the situation was unclear, this data was definitely beyond Wu Chen's ability to predict. Wu Chen quickly observed her behavior and noticed she was avoiding his gaze. He thought to himself, now's not the time to focus on that. On the island, there was that thing. Professor Song's situation was getting even more dangerous. The most important thing right now was to rescue the professor as quickly as possible. He then shouted loudly to everyone, get inside. Under no circumstances should you separate. Stay together, don't go outside, close the windows tightly, and wait for me to return. He surveyed the area and assigned tasks to the women to help him handle the pile of bodies. You take care of that small door over there, and I'll reinforce the window on this side. Before leaving, he gave a few final instructions. Remember, when I'm not here, make sure the windows are tightly closed. Don't speak about anything until I get back. A while later in the forest, Wu Chen was following the trail of the mysterious figure. The footprints aren't as deep as before. Looks like their pace has slowed down. Wu Chen quietly followed the trail of footprints until he reached a cave. Inside, there was the figure of another man walking in. He wasn't sure if this young man was one of the forest rebels. Hearing footsteps approaching, the mysterious man immediately grew alert. Wu Chen saw a terrifying gaze and a dark, angry face. The young man charged toward Wu Chen like a moth to a flame, clearly intending to attack him. Wu Chen wasn't afraid of anyone. He quickly pulled a sharp weapon from his pocket, his eyes cold with determination. He thought to himself, the force is too strong, a direct clash won't work. I need to use his strength against him. Wu Chen swung his weapon, but the other man was fast enough to block the strike with his hand. The young man winced in pain, a long wound on his hand with blood splattering out. Wu Chen heard him grunt in pain. Living alone on an island, far from the outside world, Wu Chen never expected someone would play dirty like this, using weapons like the protagonist in a story. Realizing he was at a disadvantage, a young man decided to retreat into the cave. Seizing the opportunity, Wu Chen yelled, "Don't even think about escaping," and immediately chased after him. As Wu Chen entered the cave, the path gradually narrowed, making it difficult to move quickly. But after passing through a small alley, a beam of light hit him, causing him to freeze for a few seconds, overwhelmed by the sight in front of him. Before him was a mysterious purple flower, its beauty unlike anything he had ever seen in the world. Not only that, but there was also a massive tree, and beneath it, a meadow of flowers that looked straight out of a dream. In addition, he could see the figure of a young man lying next to two beautiful women. At a glance, Wu Chen instantly recognized the man as Professor Song, along with the woman who had been captured earlier. Wu Chen thought to himself. The air around him was filled with a strange, slightly bitter fragrance. Because of his heightened alertness, he was ready to act, preparing to deal with the young man just in case and save the others. Just as he was about to make a move, a voice stopped him. No, a woman's foot was racing toward them. It was Oliver's mother, who immediately grabbed Wu Chen's hand and hurriedly knelt down to beg. "Please don't hurt him. I beg you, spare him." Wu Chen didn't want to take action either. He spoke calmly, "As long as he doesn't harm anyone, there's no need to deal with him. I'll check on Professor Song first." He quickly went over to check Professor Song's breath and silently thanked his luck. Thankfully, she was still breathing and could still be saved. But her face showed a sad expression, as if weighed down with many emotions as she wrapped a bandage around the young man's injury. Wu Chen then spoke up, asking for answers. "Can you finally tell me? Who exactly is he?" She began to recount the whole story, starting with events that took place 20 years ago. Back then, a wealthy man from England somehow learned about the existence of this island. He organized an expedition called the Prehistoric World, inviting nobles and elite individuals from Western Europe to join. Many people, including families with young children, were eager to join, driven by a desire to see something new. People of all ages, young and old, arrived on the island, and at first, everyone was thrilled, enjoying the unparalleled sense of freedom they had never experienced before. It was a world without any restrictions, and people became completely absorbed in the novelty of it all. But everything changed when someone discovered a cave. A few people went inside and, upon seeing the strange flowers there, were shocked and excited, saying out loud, "What kind of flowers are these? I've never seen them before. A new discovery. We're about to get famous." However, the longer they stayed in the cave close to those flowers, the more the men began to lose their sanity. They started attacking each other in a frenzy. As a result, almost all the men died in the chaos, and over a dozen women also perished. The survivors were in panic, forced to hide everywhere, and only later did they manage to find a safe place. Years passed, food slowly ran out, and some lost their mental stability, even taking their own lives. In the end, only we remained. Wu Chen finally understood the whole situation and responded, "So that's what happened. I get it now. That means he's one of the people from the deep-sea creature supply team who was brought to the island later." She spoke in a deeper tone and added, "About the story I told you earlier, yes, he was the first man to get injured and drift to the island, and I was the one who held him in my arms to keep him warm with my body." Her warm hands lifted the young man who had led the group to the island but later deeply regretted it. "Because of me, he betrayed them and was severely injured. In the end, he Flekier started to inhale the flowers on the island and went crazy. But even in his madness, every time he became clear-headed, he always thought about attacking them, trying to protect us." Upon hearing this, Wu Chen's face showed surprise, and he couldn't help but admire the strong will of the man before him. He was also amazed by the effects of this flower. She looked at him seriously and said, "Oliver really likes you. She feels like you could protect her like that, and protecting her also means protecting me." Wu started to show his confidence and promised, "Of course I will protect her." She suddenly blushed and clarified, "Oh no, you still don't completely understand what I mean." The feelings Oliver was talking about made Wu feel embarrassed, and he turned red too. He scratched his ear and responded, ha ha, I guess talking about that right now might not be the best idea. We should probably focus on saving Professor Song first." Suddenly, a beautiful woman ran to the entrance of the cave, urgently calling out, "Mom, this is bad. A lot of reinforcements from those guys are here. They're there." At this point, Wu Chen and she were both completely stunned. They didn't expect the enemy to arrive so quickly. The scene shifts back to where the beautiful women were hiding. A group of large men appeared carrying weapons. When they saw a group of beautiful women, they got excited and shouted, "No wonder you never let us onto the island before. So this is why." Ignoring the women crying, the men, acting like animals in heat, spread out to capture them. One of them grabbed Oliver and yelled, How many years have they been enjoying this? He didn't say much, he just charged in, wanting to take Wu Chen's new wife without any hesitation. Despite Oliver's desperate attempts to break free, it was useless. The more Oliver resisted, the more he laughed, clearly enjoying the struggle. Ha ha ha, now it's our turn to have some fun. This guy doesn't even know what a real death blow feels like. At that moment, Oliver fought with all of his might to escape, but being a woman, her strength was no match for his. In no time, he easily grabbed her, one hand on hers, the other yanking her hair back as if he were playing with her. His triumphant laugh filled the air. Ha ha ha, think you can run. Just as he was about to move in, the room suddenly went pitch black and everything around them was lost in darkness. Then a loud shout rang out, "Tan, what the hell is going on?" The sound of a punch breaking through glass echoed, and from the rooftop, a figure filled with fury shot down. With one powerful punch to the man's face, who had just spoken those vile words, he was sent flying, landing 100 meters away. His henchmen, stunned, quickly tried to organize themselves. One spoke up to calm the others. "Don't panic. Pair up and get ready to fight. You, closest to the door, check the backup power. But how do we get out of here?" Just then, Oliver's mother, armed with a gun, fired off a few shots while shouting, "You thieves won't get away with this." Wu Chen stood nearby, quietly assessing her stance, how she fought, and her shooting accuracy. It was clear she had received professional training. He remembered earlier by the old tree when she had come up with a plan for him. "I'll attack head-on and support everyone. You get the kids out of here," she had said. At that moment, she was fired up, emptying her magazine before switching to a pistol, shouting as she shot, "Get the hell down to hell." On the other side, the mysterious man was like a werewolf, using speed, strength, and his claws. At the blink of an eye, he took care of two people. When another enemy rushed in, a single slap sent him flying. One of the enemies said, "I'm starting to see better now. There's something else besides that woman. Damn it, kill them all for me." Back on this side, Oliver fearfully called out his name in the night, but Wu Chen quickly rushed over, covering her mouth and signaling her to stay quiet. "Shh, don't say anything," he whispered. Seeing him, she was overwhelmed with emotion and began to cry. Wu Chen calmly reassured her. "Your mom is drawing their attention. You have any way to gather the rest of the women? I promised your mom I'd help everyone escape." Oliver obediently responded with a quiet and then she used a special sound transmission technique. Wu Chen was confused. "What is that?" She replied, "This is how my mother taught me. It's a low-frequency sound that people who aren't trained or over 30 years old can't hear. My mother said that if there's danger, I can use it to call the others." Wu Chen became more and more suspicious about her identity. Sure enough, her mother was no ordinary person. If you remembered correctly, this was a communication signal only professional assassins used. After a while, the other members started arriving, following the signal. He asked, "Is everyone here?" Oliver answered, "Yes, except for my mom." He signaled, "I'll protect everyone while we retreat. We'll leave one by one through this exit. Once we're out, head west toward the coast. We'll use their boat to get away from here." Upon hearing this, a few of the others hesitated and asked, "Leave this place." Oliver added, "But this is our home." He replied, "I understand, but this island is no longer safe." "That's also," your mother said. Meanwhile, the other couple was still fighting the enemies fiercely. The husband was leaping around with incredible agility, using his lightness skills to avoid attacks while striking with powerful palm strikes. The wife, on the other hand, was firing bullets from two guns, one in each hand. At this point, the group of women had all followed his instructions and escaped together, making sure no one was left behind. The Wu Chen group quickly headed west, just as planned. Wu spoke up Oliver, signal her mother. She replied, "Okay." With that, she sent the special signal. Inside the house, gunfire erupted and smoke filled the air. The enemies cursed, "Oh shit, idiots, don't shoot our own people." Suddenly, the deputy commander signaled for everyone to stop. "Hold your fire." If he waited just one more second, that sharp but foolish guy would have already fired a shot right at him. Everyone quickly realized that the area was empty, except for them. The angry guy yelled, "Damn it, we've been tricked. Chase after them now." Meanwhile, Wu Chen's group had managed to take Professor Som with them and made it to a rock outcrop by the shore. Wu Chen pointed down below and said, "We'll use those boats to get away before they catch up to us." But then Oliver pointed out toward the distant sea and asked, "What's that over there?" At that moment, there were about 3 large ships and several canoes speeding toward the island. Wu Chen quickly recognized them and said, "Reinforcements from the enemy. Looks like they didn't underestimate the fighting force on this island." Suddenly, Oliver's mother declared, "We will fight to the end, even if it's our last breath." Hearing this, the beloved children anxiously called out, "Mom." She said, "Children, even if we have to die, we must not be captured. If we live like that, it would be worse than death. I know what those shameless thugs will do. Quickly gather up all the weapons we brought earlier." She then handed Wu Chen a bundle of keys and said, "Please keep these for me. If I survive, I'll tell you what these keys are for." But then Wu Chen took out a pistol and started loading it. The women and children were shocked by his swift actions. Wu Chen was like a fighting machine, holding 2 guns, walking with complete confidence. He reassured them, "I won't let anyone die." At that moment, a group of soldiers carrying submachine guns launched an attack, and a battle broke out. Immediately, Wu Chen and the others began to fight desperately. "Everyone, hurry and run," Oliver shouted. "Mom will fight alongside you." The other girls added, "If we have to die, we will die together." "That's right, we'll die together if we must." Wu Chen was fighting off enemies while thinking to himself, "All right, fine, having this kind of spirit isn't necessarily a bad thing." From a distance, a man with a large sniper rifle shouted loudly, "I'll say it one more time so you can hear it clearly. All the men on the island are to be dealt with, but the women are to be left alone. Do whatever you want with them. Have fun." Hearing that, the henchman got excited and he jumped up. Those who knew the situation on the island felt reassured. All the men would be taken care of, and the women would be captured. Even the boss knew how to play this game. The man raised his sniper rifle and aimed at the island, muttering 2 words under his breath, "Die." A laser beam shot toward Wu Chen. He immediately realized something was wrong. The shooter wondered, "Did I hit?" "Ah, whatever. Just keep going." Wu Chen had no problem dodging, but there was an issue. The timing was off since Oliver was standing right behind him. Damn it, we're their firing range. The bullet grazed Oliver's arm, and she screamed in pain. Wu Chen quickly caught her, his eyes filled with murderous intent as he glared toward the other side, cursing, "Damn it." At that moment, out at sea, a massive warship appeared on the horizon. Ning Chen's voice boomed through a loudspeaker. "We have evidence that our scientists were taken to this unmarked island. Our fleet will begin a rescue operation immediately. Anyone who isn't involved needs to leave now." Wu Chen recognized the voice as Captain Ning's. The soldiers nearby immediately panicked. One of them, speaking into the phone, cursed, "Damn it, why is there a military warship here? The boss never said anything about this. What are we supposed to do?" Okay, I understand," came the reply. "The headquarters called. We need to pull back immediately. We can't risk a military conflict with another country." The man wearing a red scarf shouted, "Did you hear that? Start the engines and retreat now." Meanwhile, Wu Chen and his group moved forward. They saw the 2 couples fighting back, pushing the enemy so hard that they were nearly wiped out. A woman, clutching her stomach where she had been shot, cried out, "Quick, save him." But then, blood. Her mother had been shot. After a while, a doctor spoke up. "The professor is out of danger, but he still needs 2 more rounds of detox treatment. As for this man, his heart has stopped. I'm sorry for your loss, miss." Seeing the person she loved slip away, the woman struggled to accept it, her grief overwhelming as she broke into tears. Wu Chen stepped forward, noticing her severe injuries. If they didn't remove the bullet and stop the bleeding soon. She spoke through her tears, "He's gone. He suffered too much in his life." But she still said, I know my body well enough. It's not as simple as just taking the bullet out." "Cough, puff," she explained. "Wu Chen, I have a few last words I want to say to you. Do you remember the key I gave you? I believe it's right here, isn't it? This key holds the secret of our family. Please take care of it. I am a descendant of the Savai family." Cough, puff. Wu Chen was shocked. "Savi? The royal family from Italy that has existed for 900 years? She continued, "After the royal family fell, Oliver is now the last of our bloodline. Wu Chen, Oliver, the girl, I'm entrusting her to you. I hope you can help her continue our family's legacy." Slowly, she lay down, her eyes gently closing. "Now I have to go find him." Her hand clenched tightly, never letting go until her final breath. And just like that, the 2 could be reunited in another world, a world filled only with warm, peaceful sunlight. Wu Chen couldn't do anything more. He could only silently pray that they could rest in peace. The next day, gravestones appeared along the coastline, and everyone quickly gathered around. The girls immediately burst into tears. Wu Chen thought to himself, hoping the 2 of them would be happy together forever in the afterlife. Oliver would happen to take care of him. Ning Chen said, "Wu Chen, I'm sorry. In the middle of the mission, I made you go through something like this." "Captain Ning, it's fine. I just feel sorry for the other girls. But I guess it's true. You'll have to take good care of them from now on." "Huh? What did you say, Captain Ning?" "I don't get it," she smiled and explained. "It was arranged by your uncle, and you should figure things out from here on out. After all, you're great with women, right?" Wu Chen was confused, but only managed to explain, "Huh. No, that's not it." 2 days later, Wu Chen took the girls back. From a distance, they saw Lai Ru Bing standing tall as usual, and with every mission, more women seemed to be joining her. She spoke up, honey, did you finish the mission? Wu Chen replied, not sure yet. Captain Ning still seems to think I haven't completed it. Ru Bing replied indifferently, oh, and why are all these girls following you now? What's going on with the bank? You used to just bring 2 or 3 girls, but now it looks like you're going big, bringing a whole crew. Thinking about the scene where my husband was serving 6 girls at once and then asking, can my body handle this? Wu Chen reassured me, saying, for the details, it's best to ask your uncle. Ru Bing put her hands on her head, feeling frustrated. What's wrong with my dad? He always finds time to tell me stories at night. My love, can you feel the hidden strength inside? Ru Bing struggled to respond, it's so annoying. That's right, my love. The girl who got off the train with him was named Oliver. He hopes you can teach her everything about noble life as quickly as possible. When Ms. Lai heard that, she could only sigh in surprise. She never expected she'd have to look after and teach this new girl. But seeing how firm he was, she just muttered and in response. Wu Chen excitedly said, so, does that mean you agree? So, Ru Bing took Oliver to King Min's house. Sister, Wu Chen asked us to teach this girl noble etiquette, but I'm not very patient, so most of the teaching should be left to you. King Min smiled warmly and responded, okay, I understand, Sister Lai. After a midday nap, suddenly Wu Chen jumped through her door and called for King Min. Seeing her boyfriend, she happily called out, my love. Here's the translation of your text into clear and natural American English. As a kind of reward, he casually jumped onto the bed and said, Ru Bing has a bit of an issue. I need you to help out. At this point, Oliver had finished changing into the maid's outfit. The 2 women looked her over and sighed in frustration. King Min said, as for the clothes, we didn't have time to prepare, so how about we start with the other parts first? Ru Bing replied, according to Wu Chen's original plan, oh, you wrong, was supposed to take care of the clothes and accessories, but you know how that woman is always trying to show off, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of her yet. All right, let's go over the basics first. King Min said, leading Oliver to introduce everything. Little sister, if you come across a large armchair like the ones in a castle, what would you do? Oliver innocently ran over and sat down on it. Is it okay to sit like this? She asked. King Min explained, no, that's wrong. That chair is meant only for elders or the master of the house. You're not supposed to sit in it. Remember that. Seeing how clueless Oliver looked, Ru Bing couldn't help but sigh, thank goodness for King Min. I'd be lost in situations like this. Any piece of furniture, if you can avoid touching it, just avoid it, understand? She replied, yes, I understand. King Min immediately adjusted her posture and said, no, you can't walk or stand like that. Your movements should be smooth. Your posture should be graceful. Even the smallest gesture should never show any sign of fatigue. Got it? When she saw her sister staring at something, Oliver just stood still, too nervous to move. Let me see. The next day, she cheerfully asked, sister, do you think this looks okay? King Min smiled. It's almost there, but when you stop, your posture has to show calmness and confidence too. The key is in your feet. Don't stamp them hard on the floor. Got it? Okay, so how should I step then? Ru Bing, calling from the kitchen, said, King Min, maybe you should teach her little by little. She doesn't have the same foundation we have from growing up. This is all new to her, and no matter how much we explain, she won't be able to fully grasp it all at once. Everyone, come on over, take a break, eat something, and we can keep teaching her slowly. But when they saw how Oliver was eating, the 2 women helplessly muttered, she eats like a little pig. Yeah, when I first met her, she looked so poorly dressed. And yet, Wu Chen specifically told us to teach her noble etiquette. Could she be some illegitimate daughter of a rich man? Maybe after her father passed away, the stepmother found out and threw her into the pigsty, leaving her to fend for herself. Where do you 2 come up with these wild scenarios? Oliver said with a soft, sympathetic smile. Poor thing. That just means we have to teach her properly. Looks like she's had a tough life. The 2 women approached her gently. Sister, that's not how you eat bread. First, you need to wipe your mouth. Sure. Here's the translated text. Look closely. This is how it's done. Eating bread has strict rules. You absolutely can't just take a whole loaf and bite into it. You have to break it into small pieces before eating. You also can't spread butter all over the piece. It has to be done like this. Break a piece, spread a little butter, then eat. Oliver looked at the table and thought, this place looks a bit messy. There's probably something wrong. I'll quietly clean it up a bit. But then a loud voice interrupted. Stop right there, little sister. Nobles never clean up crumbs themselves. Do you understand? That's the butler's job, and it even has a special name, butler. You don't have to rush. Just take your time eating. Don't choke. By the way, do you want some tea? After you finish, I'll teach you how to drink it properly. Oliver thought, these 2 are really treating me so well, it makes me want to cry. Meanwhile, Wu Chen went over to ask Sister Yang. She spoke up, you want me to teach your new girlfriend? Little husband of mine, how long has it been since you paid any attention to me? I'm so frustrated. I don't feel like teaching anyone right now. Wu Chen replied, Sister Yang, didn't I come over? I'll make it up to you, I promise. She, dressed seductively, said, Look, I've always been waiting for you. Can you feel it? Wu Chen quickly said, Sister Yang, there's no need for us to say too much. Yurong responded with a few ahs and then thought, Oh my, you're being so bold right from the start? Well then, I'll leave the rest to you. Yurong happily replied, Ma'am, all right. So for the next 4 hours, Oh Yurong experienced many moments of bliss that had been absent for quite some time. On the other side, Ru Bing was teaching Oliver how to drink tea. King Bin was teaching him how to drink alcohol. And then they all enjoyed singing and dancing. The training's going well. Let's go, little sister. It's time to meet Wu Chen, King Min said. Just then, the three of them walked into the room. Ru Bing said, All right, darling, King Min has almost finished teaching the formalities. The rest of the interaction with men is up to you. Oliver softly called out, Wu Chen. Even though those lessons were really hard, I tried my best. Wu Chen said, You've changed a lot. The others say I'm good at certain things and I want to learn too. Oh, really? Well, then sit here for now. Ru Bing spoke up. Darling, be gentle. This little body can't handle it, King Min said with a soft laugh. Honey, don't use those weird tricks like you did when we were together. Yurong reminded him. Wu Chen smiled softly and said, Don't worry, I've got this covered. At this point, Oliver looked shy, biting her lip and thinking, Hey, this sounds a little too scary, doesn't it? She was already lying in bed, eyes shut, almost as if waiting for something. Wu Chen, I'm ready now. He looked at her a little tense and smiled faintly. Then he asked, But before we go on, Oliver, do you know anything about the Sarai family? She was surprised and asked, The Sarai family? Yeah. You don't remember them? Nope. No clue. What did your mom teach you on the island then? Oliver suddenly raised her voice, replying, Don't trust men too easily. Ha ha, that's not what I meant. I was asking about the skills your mom taught you. Thinking about her mother, who had just passed away, Oliver's face turned sad as she recalled, There's a lot. First, Mom taught me how to make a dagger. Then she showed me how to use it to catch fish. It's really hard. You have to pay attention to the angle, the strength, the precision, all of it. Wu Chen thought to himself, catching fish with a dagger. The most important thing is to stay hidden, so the fish don't get scared. No wonder when I first arrived on the island, I had no idea someone was watching me. Oliver then remembered something. Oh, right, Mom also made us. My sisters and I had to learn some self-defense techniques, just in case we ran into wild animals on the island. He looked at her innocent expression and chuckled softly to himself. It's nothing unusual. When we were running away, there were a few girls who had been professionally trained. If they couldn't protect themselves, they'd end up getting killed. My mom always taught me that. Then she taught me how to set traps and catch animals. It's much easier than catching fish. When it comes to skinning them, it's still tough. The bones of different animals are completely different. If you ruin the knife, you have to make a new one from scratch. Then she gave me a quick lesson in human anatomy. She said the most important thing is to protect the head and heart. And there was more. Mom also taught us how to call for backup. We might be weak, but when we're together, we're strong. Hearing this, he realized he now had a rough idea of Oliver's training program. It wasn't just basic survival in the wild. It was something deeper, tied to the Sarai family. Before she passed away, the girl's mother had told him about the meaning of their names and the key, and it was clear now that it needed to be investigated further. Sitting there lost in thought for a while, Oliver suddenly looked at Wu Chen with wide, curious eyes. Then, without warning, she stepped closer and hugged his arm. The beautiful face is called Wu Chen. Before she died, her mother wanted her to leave behind a legacy with a person she loved. She wanted that person to be him, but she didn't know how to make it happen. Wu Chen smiled at her innocent, adorable expression. Oliver, just relax and lie down for now. She obediently responded with a soft yes. That Wu Chen began to teach her how adults find joy. Oliver trembled, feeling incredibly nervous. She watched as his hand slowly began to undo the buttons of her shirt, but then he paused. She reminded herself, Oliver, don't be scared. It's Wu Chen. He saved me, took care of me. And this is what my mother wanted. It'll be over quickly. And then I'll get to enjoy good food again. When she suddenly burst into tears, calling out, he immediately spoke her name. Oliver? All right, that's enough. When he stopped, she asked, Wu Chen, what's wrong? He replied, It seems you're not quite ready yet. We'll try again next time. With that, he left, leaving her with a confused expression. The next day, the news he read reported that scholar Song Yun had used national funds to go on a trip, indulging in luxury and reckless behavior, and then disappeared. She is now being hunted down in a special national operation. A lone hero from the Southwestern Rare Animal Research Institute had trekked through forests and crossed islands to collect minerals for national research. Some voices raised concerns. It wasn't a helicopter nor an ambulance, but a military warship mobilized just to pick up one person. Wasn't this an excessive waste of public resources? Wu thought to himself, why didn't Professor Song suddenly end up at the center of all this public attention? There was a knock on the door. He went over and asked, right now, who is it? When he opened the door, he was greeted by a pair of white hills. No, a completely covered face. Excuse me, are you? He asked, and the glasses and mask were immediately pulled off. The woman asked, what's wrong? Don't you recognize me? His face lit up. Professor Song, what are you doing here? Please come in and sit down. Make yourself at home, she replied. Sorry for the sudden visit, she added. As he gallantly poured her some water, she continued, thank you. I heard from Captain Ning that it was you who went to the island to rescue me. I've come to thank you. He replied, Professor, you've just recovered. You should be resting more. You're probably already seeing all the information online, right? With all the public pressure right now, it's hard to stay calm. I just want to find someone to talk to help take my mind off things, Wu Chen said. Most people online are just talking nonsense. They're jumping on the bandwagon. Don't take it too seriously, Professor, she replied. When I took on this research project at sea, I knew it would be tough, but I never imagined it would be this difficult. Now, everyone online is piling on, and some are even digging into the personal information of our academy. A few of my students can't take it and are thinking about quitting, he said. He asked seriously, is it really that bad? Professor Song responded, I don't know if it's because I've been so isolated from society, but it seems like the internet is full of aggressive people. Some are even using this situation to attack the whole country. He replied, well, that's the price of free speech, I guess. But honestly, the way public opinion is going this time feels really off. Anyway, don't worry about it too much. I'm just venting a bit. The main reason I came today is to thank you. My whole lab wants to thank you. Once all this blows over, I'd love for you to come visit. He answered, I definitely will. I'll come for sure. Here's the translation in clear, natural American English. Oliver said, on the island, when we need an energy boost, we eat this. Wu Chen replied, Oliver, I just woke up and don't feel hungry yet. I need to make a call first. She looked a little sad, wondering if her cooking didn't match Wu Chen's taste. Outside on the balcony, he asked, Peng Wei, have you gotten any results from the investigation I asked you to do yesterday? On the other end, Peng Wei replied, Mr. Wu, it's almost exactly as we thought. The major accounts spreading division and inciting trouble online belong to people from a tech company. And just before the public backlash started, that company received several small payments from overseas. Wu Chen responded, tracking the money isn't your area of expertise. Go handle your own tasks. I'll let you know what the next move is. 3 hours later, Wu Chen met with Ning Chen. Team leader Ning, there's been an issue with Professor Song. Right now, her research team is under a lot of pressure, and some people even want to quit. She replied, I know. The online public opinion is having a serious impact on her team. He asked, oh, so you have a lead? She paused and said, the source is clear now. Foreign forces have been investing in some domestic media outlets for a while. I also confirmed this with Aug Singlong. He smiled faintly. Aug Singlong, it seems like this fishy business still has some interesting things going on. What's up? Or do you want to ask him yourself? A little while later, at the detention center, Wu Chen spoke up. Aug Singlong, on the list of foreign companies transferring money for relatively advanced technologies, there are a few that you were in charge of. I'm really curious as to why, after your arrest, certain connections that should have been cut were never dealt with. He replied, that kind of thing, you can have as much as you want. Publicly manipulating public opinion, isn't that just proof that the A-Long gang is desperate and has no other way out? Is that so? I don't think so. I feel like there's someone behind the scenes who's hitting the target. Also about your reason for passing on the spy trade. Is it because you lost to Lin Xi in the battle for a man and for money, wanted to ruin endless investments to wash away your shame? I've always suspected that. Aug Singlong said, don't twist my words. If you know something, just say it. Wu Chen asked, did he recruit you? Coding? EIO? Standing beside them, Ning Chen thought, new intel? I've barely heard of that codename. Aug Singlong replied, now that you've investigated, you should know that codename is meaningless. The person has countless identities and codenames. How we continue investigating is up to me. What I need from you is the real reason why he managed to pull you in: money. A huge, unimaginable amount of money. So much that Ding Duanlong had no choice but to kneel and lick his boots. But that's a story for later. Wu Chen heard this and asked, how deep are your feelings for Ding Duanlong? He snorted lightly and walked away. That's none of your business. Here's a clue for you. If you want to investigate, look into Zhu Mu King in City A, the Zhu family, huh? That mysterious northern aristocratic family. Sing Long continued, when I finished the first task EO gave me and reported back, the person by his side at that time was Zumu King. Anyway, let's talk more when we have more to go on. I'm tired now. I need to go rest in my room. A little later, Ing Chen asked, Wu Chen, are you hiding more information from me? He replied, if I'm not sure, how can I just say anything? Now, you know for sure. Humph, that shark-tongued little thing is good at talking, huh? Let's stop talking about this. He laughed. Look, isn't it a coincidence? Dong Sin's sister comes to City Lai to promote Dong's model, but every company refuses to collaborate. They say the model doesn't fit the high-end urban lifestyle here. The one pulling the strings behind it all is Zumu King, and just so happens I was planning to approach Zumu King myself. Ning Chen skeptically threw in a few words, adding, another sister, always calling your wives sisters. Be careful, you might get yourself in trouble. He laughed and explained, ha ha ha, no, it's not like that. Zumu King, how do you plan to handle him? Ha ha, I just came up with an idea. Just watch and you'll see. 3 days later, elegance was no longer just a mechanical ritual. Noble charisma wasn't merely a style. It was a way of life and a mindset to pursue. Living seriously, appreciating every meal each day. You and I are both pillars of society with free spirits. In the era of kings pursuing their dreams, anyone can become a noble. That's what Oliver and Xiao Yi combined, sending a message across social media, causing a buzz online. What the hell? The new generation little diva is totally rocking this commercial. What commercial? Got me hooked? I think some southern cities have already started promoting this model. Anyone can be a noble. Sounds pretty tempting. The older sister came over, bought food, and even cooked it on site. Am I opening a restaurant here or what? Over here, everyone's having a good time. Dong Sin called Mr. Wu. Not only has interaction increased dramatically, but even the companies that used to reject me are now asking to join the platform. The Dong family's model is coming to the city. Maybe it's about to succeed. Here's the translation of the text you provided. I think now it's time to wait and see how Zumu King handles the situation. Over by the pool, you can only hear the calls of beautiful women. The girl is in the water, telling him to be gentle, but he's taking advantage and pushing further, saying, Okay, I got a bit carried away earlier because I was too focused. If you scream, I'll be extra kind to you. Suddenly, a young man runs over. Young master, there's new information from the city's food and trade associations. He's in a good mood, but irritated by the interruption, so he snaps, Who let you in? Put that device down and get out of here. You almost ruined my mood. He thinks to himself, Humph, focus. All right, the feeling's back. But manipulating public opinion to force businesses and even putting on a show like this, interesting. All right, that girl Dong dared to make trouble at my territory, huh? Let's see how she plays this game with me. 2 days later, at a lively and glamorous banquet at the fashion event, the host speaks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start the countdown for this month. 3, 2, 1, go. The lonely young men seem so many beautiful women here. Couldn't help but admire the dazzling elegance and grace. Indeed, when it comes to beauty and sophistication, the Chinese style reigns supreme. No kidding, our ancestors made careful selections. It's not something these pirate nations could ever compare to. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments. Zumu King happily drank with someone, chatting as if he were truly traveling through time. This trick of young Master Zhu's is really amazing, the other person remarked. He responded, Our city can't let random things throw us off track. We have to highlight what makes us unique. The other man replied, You're too kind, leader. I'm just a businessman. The cultural direction of our city still depends on you. Ha ha, you're too humble. From behind, Oliver watched him closely. Wu Chen had told him to approach that person. He remembered how, before the party, Sister Yang and Wu Chen had helped him get ready. But the cologne Wu Chen had sprayed on him smelled weird. Well, whatever. Time to move forward. So he pretended to bump into Zumu King. Zhu was about to get angry, but when he saw a beautiful woman apologizing over and over, he was moved and turned around. While watching the video, I didn't really notice before, but the girl's Eastern dancer costume was totally my style. But when I saw her leaving, I felt a little disappointed. This girl, I can't let her just walk away like that. The young man ran after her and grabbed her arm. He acted like he knew her, asking Elena, Don't you remember me? We took pottery lessons with teacher Zhao. I sat behind you. Blushing, Oliver responded, Oh, you're asking me. You got the wrong person. My name's Oliver, not Elena. She thought Wu Chen had taught her that holding her breath would make her face turn red. He smiled and pretended to be surprised. Oh, really? Oh my gosh, you look exactly like my old school friend. It must be fate. He then called out loudly, Waiter, bring the drinks. Master Zhu is treating. With a confident tone, he said, Ms. Oliver, let's toast to this serendipitous meeting. She replied, "Sure, I'm a little thirsty. I'll go with this one." He thought to himself, "Good choice. She has no idea how strong this drink is. She's so inexperienced," but he was stunned when Oliver downed the whole glass in one go. "Wow, I feel a little dizzy. This drink is strange, but really good. Can I have another one?" He chuckled awkwardly and said, "Of course. Miss Oliver, you can drink as much as you like, and I'll drink right along with you." A lewd smile appeared on his face, but hidden within it was the island mist liquor. Just one glass of it could knock out a normal person. In the underworld, they called it the drink that could make even a beauty lose herself. He wondered how many glasses she could handle. Most women would lose consciousness after just 3. It was all going according to plan. That's when I'll strike. "Ms. Oliver, please. How many would you like?" "I'll drink as many as you do." So the two of them continued drinking together, testing their limits. The young men who were watching shouted, "Look, young Master Zhu is drinking with a mysterious woman. I think I heard her say she was just thirsty. Is she joking? Young Master Zhu is the city's unrivaled drinker, but that girl seems way more at ease. There aren't many people who can drink as much as he does. This girl is really something special. I'm rooting for her. Go for it, go for it." From a distance, Wu Chen watched and smiled. Oliver drinks really well. You know, Rupin and King Min, who are famous for their high alcohol tolerance, can drink over 2 kilograms of Maotide without getting drunk. Yet, in front of Oliver, they were defeated. Meanwhile, the two of them kept drinking nonstop, but Juwu King, the young man, was clearly starting to struggle. Oliver, on the other hand, seemed to be drinking as if it was just water. Wu Chen said he had other matters to attend to and told him not to drink too much. He thought it was probably time to fake being drunk. She spoke up, "I think I had too much. If I drink any more, I'll be embarrassed. You're really impressive handsome." He swayed, barely able to stand, but maintaining his pride, he replied, "Of course, this little bit of alcohol is nothing." But he was trying to hold it in. What is this feeling? It felt like he was about to throw up. "No, not here, not now." He quickly said, "Miss Oliver, please excuse me for a moment. Wait here in this room. I'll take you to see the second one soon." He handed her a room key. Seeing that she had taken it, he left, saying, "Wait for me, just 10 minutes. No, 5 minutes. Actually, 3 minutes. Just wait for me." The young man staggered off, almost running away, leaving Oliver speechless. Inside the bathroom, the young man was feeling worse by the second, as if he'd just come back from the dead. He was thinking to himself, how dare that girl get me this drunk? Wait until I deal with her. Suddenly, he heard a noise outside, which made him immediately grow cautious. A voice came from outside. "Young Master Zhu, you've had enough to drink. I've brought you some water and a hangover cure." He quickly opened the door, not thinking much, and gulped down a glass of water before rushing off to find the beautiful girl, praising her. "Well done, you know what you're doing." But what he didn't know was that the person who had just served him was Wu Chen. On the other side, the young man burst through the door, calling out, "Miss Oliver, come see something interesting." Oliver, looking like a helpless lamb, replied, "Young Master Zhu, please don't. I already had too much. I'm scared." He stepped closer and said, "It's okay. I'll take responsibility, but if you're ready to get things going, something doesn't feel quite right in your system." The expression on his face instantly darkened, and his eyes went blank. Then, the young man collapsed right there, with something greenish like vegetable juice spilling out of him. Wu Chen spoke up, "The hangover medicine I gave you earlier mixed with the scent of your perfume probably triggered the drunkenness to double. Looks like the dosage this time was just right." Wu Chen then took out his equipment and started working. He put on a pair of white gloves, and the first thing he did was prepare to copy Zhu Mu King's fingerprints. "Oliver, stay here. You don't need to do anything. Just lie there and pretend to be drunk." She asked, "So, you actually want me to keep an eye on him, right?" Seeing that she was getting sharper, Wu Chen replied, "Exactly. If he wakes up, you just start crying and leave, then let me know immediately." This was his secret trick, acting like a helpless lamb to trap the tiger. She nodded obediently. "Got it." 2 hours later, the scene shifted to Zhu Mu King's mansion, an isolated house surrounded by high walls with countless bodyguards standing watch. Wu Chen knew at a glance it wouldn't be easy. He was certain it wouldn't stop him. He thought to himself, "Damn, it's like they've hidden a treasure vault in there." He just pretended to be a passerby, casually looking around and noticing the cameras scanning the area. As soon as Wu Chen got close to the villa, the security guards immediately received an alert from the cameras. The 2 gatekeepers rushed over to chase him away, warning him to stay out of the private property. He responded, "Ha ha ha, sorry, I just moved here and don't know the area well yet." He then walked away, but couldn't help but comment that camera placement is pretty clever. He climbed up a nearby tree, performed a few tricks to hack into the security system, and felt a sense of satisfaction. But no matter how advanced these systems got, they were still just outdated toys after thousands of years of use. From the inside out, all the camera feeds were replaced with a minute-long loop of an empty scene. He quickly put on a completely disguised outfit and, not forgetting to leave behind a charming smile, prepared himself. That was more than enough time to break in. In a flash, he was over the high wall. But then he saw his best friend waiting for him. Wu Chen immediately suppressed him and knocked him out. "What's the big deal?" he muttered. He quickly made his way inside. At first, he thought it would be an easy job, but he nearly got killed by the guards. A little while later, he quietly searched through the entire other room looking for something, but after a while, he still couldn't find any clues. This house wasn't as small as Ru Bing, so it was definitely tiring to look for stuff. However, as he passed by a room with the light on, he wondered, is someone there? Well, what's that sound? He immediately became alert, moving closer to the room, his hand ready on his weapon. But what he saw next was the pitiful sight of a beautiful woman, drenched in sweat and trembling as she called out, Mu King, why can't you?" Her voice grew more frantic as she complained, "You never let me join your parties. I've done everything for you. I really want this. Honestly, I'd do anything if you just said one word. I mean it." Suddenly, the woman let out a loud scream as though she had just reached the peak of an intense moment. At that moment, her hand, which had been stuck, finally pulled free. She yelled, "Why can't I have this? Does it have to be only those lowly girls?" Wu Chen, standing outside, was at a loss for words. He couldn't help but feel sorry for her, sick, with no one to help, and he never expected to find something like this. Sure, here's your text translated into clear and natural American English. Take your time, I won't bother you anymore. He slowly walked up the stairs, then noticed an unusual door, a door that even uses a fingerprint lock. This must be the place. He used the fingerprint he had collected earlier to start the process of unlocking the door. He pressed his hand against the sensor and the door to the room opened, allowing Wu Chen to step inside. He thought, so this is it. Doesn't like using a secret compartment, prefers a safe instead. The combination lock is pretty old school, but luckily I came prepared. He turned into a master thief and began working on the safe's code. It didn't take too long before he managed to open it. Inside were all paper documents, most of which were just foreign banknotes. However, a plain-looking envelope stood out as very different. He took it out and found a strange symbol along with a string of numbers. With his 1,000 years of experience, Wu Chen immediately recognized. What are these coordinates? There was also a mysterious signature. Oh well, better take a photo first. I'll save it as evidence for now and look into it later. He carefully placed everything back in its exact spot, adjusting it to the millimeter. On top of that, he noticed a file photo of the beautiful woman who had been sick earlier in the room below. He laughed like he'd hit the jackpot when he read her details. Kim Yu-jen, half Korean, half Chinese, with dual PhDs in economics and financial analysis from Soon University. That sounds interesting. After reading it, he just left it there, but he'd already memorized the info. That's how we roll. Heh. Who knows? We might need it later. But what he didn't notice was that, right beside him in the fish tank, something had appeared like a hidden camera placed inside the goldfish's eye. At that moment, Wu Chen called Oliver and said the mission was over and she should pull out immediately. She responded, "So, are we just going to leave that Jew guy hanging? Something about it makes me feel sorry for him." Wu casually said, "They can handle it however they want over there." After hanging up, she suddenly got a spark of inspiration. She took out a lipstick from her bag and thought, let me practice those characters Ru Bing taught me earlier. She remembered Ru Bing had said, "These 3 characters are for people you hate, remember?" So she quickly wrote on Zhu Mu King's face 3 characters. Go die. Then she immediately left the scene as if nothing had ever happened. 6 hours later, in a daze, Zhu Mu King woke up feeling exhausted. He dragged his tired body into the bathroom, planning to brighten up with some colorful language, but when he looked in the mirror, 3 words on his face made him so angry he shouted, "Dan, I've been played. Just wait, this isn't over." The next day, Wu Chen's Ferrari rolled out of the garage. He was casually driving his sports car, heading out for breakfast, when an Audi behind him suddenly flashed its high beams. Within seconds, it crashed straight into the back of Wu Chen's car. After stopping, Wu Chen calmly got out to assess the damage, but he seemed genuinely surprised when a beautiful woman quickly ran up to apologize. "I'm so sorry, I was in a rush this morning, texting while driving. Please, forgive me." The woman sincerely apologized over and over, but Wu Chen couldn't shake the feeling that she looked familiar. Wait, could it be? Noticing Wu Chen staring at her, the woman blushed slightly, feeling a bit embarrassed, but she confidently spoke up, "Sir, I'll cover all the repair costs for your car. I promise it will be restored to its original condition. If you have any inconvenience with your car for the next couple of days, I'll take care of everything." Wu Chen remembered that the girl whose hand got stuck last night was, as he suspected, Kim Yu-jen. He felt something was off and wondered, what's she doing here? Did she recognize me yesterday? Or is this just a coincidence? Suddenly, Wu Chen smiled to himself, clearly intrigued. Kim Yu-zhen, looking shy like a young girl, glanced at herself from head to toe and asked, "Why are you staring at me like that? Is something wrong with me?" When he can respond, she called out again, "Hey, excuse me." Wu Chen replied, "Oh, nothing. You don't need to worry about the small scratch on the car. No need to report it to the police or anything. Just forget about it." She smiled and said, "Really? That's a relief. You're such a generous person. Hey, let me treat you to a meal. After all, it's my fault." She pulled out her phone to scan a QR code and added, "You have to accept or I'll feel bad forever. Also, let's exchange contacts." Wu Chen found it tempting being approached by such a pretty girl, but deep down, his guard was up. He thought, she's being way too forward. I'm curious to see what she's up to next. He also took out his phone, scanned it to add another contact method, and then immediately said, "I'll pass on the meal for now. I have something to do. Let's reschedule for another time." Kim Yu-zhen waved his hand. "Sure, no problem. If you need anything in the next few days, just contact me anytime. And don't forget, I'm still waiting for that meal invite." Wu Chen's car was then driven away. Watching the car leave, Kim Yu-zhen smiled softly, as if deep in thought with an unreadable expression. Wu Chen made a call. "Sinner, today I need you to introduce Oliver to how the Dawn family operates. We also have the second round of advertisements coming up, so make sure you two coordinate and communicate well. Who knows, maybe you'll come up with something innovative." Gongsin replied, "Okay, Wu, do you have other things to take care of today?" He answered, "Yeah, just some things I need to investigate. Talk later." Then he hung up. A little while later, in the suburbs of City B near City Y, he rented a few public bikes for some exercise, though in reality, he just didn't want to draw attention. Wu Chen happily rode around for a while, passing through an area and reflecting. Sure enough, it wasn't simple. The coordinates pointed to a military base. Suddenly, a car passed by and a voice called out, catching his attention. "Wu Chen, is that you?" The car window rolled down and he was surprised to see Professor Song. She continued, "It really is you. What brings you here?" Wu Chen scratched his head and replied, "I was just passing by. I didn't expect to find such a large military base here. What about you, Professor?" She laughed. "Ha ha, this is the lab where I work, and you came at the perfect time. I had actually planned to bring you here for a tour. Come on, follow me and take a look." So Wu Chen got into the car with Professor Song, and they drove straight into the military base. A little while later, inside the base, the staff were working hard, researching something. Professor Song clapped her hands and said, "Everyone, take a break for a moment. Let me introduce someone. This is Wu Chen, the person I've mentioned before, the one who saved me from that island." Wu Chen, a bit embarrassed, just smiled. "Ha ha, please don't say that. I'm also shy, you know." A few young people quickly came over to greet him and shake his hand. "Mr. Wu, please don't be so humble. You're the professor's savior, which means you're a hero to our whole project team. We're really grateful to you." He replied, "You're all too kind." Suddenly, a man approached and shook hands casually, but there was something strange in his eyes, like he was thinking, "Wait a second, who is this person?" However, the man quickly walked away. Wu Chen also sensed that something felt off. Professor Song spoke up, "Right, Xiao Jiang, come over here and handle this." He replied, "Got it, Professor." The person called Xiao Jiang glanced at Wu Chen for a moment, then quickly looked away. On the outside, Wu Chen seemed clueless, but he knew that the man's name was Jiang Kunji. He had come across this name in Zhu Mu King's files before. Wu Chen smiled slightly, thinking to himself, "This guy is no simple character. I'll need to keep an eye on him."